Vel Anor looked beautiful beneath the red sky, but beauty can become a veil, and that evening I began to see what the city had hidden behind its silence. They called it a monument of victory. I looked at the stone and wondered how many forgotten names were buried beneath its gold. The first sign did not arrive like a scream. It came quietly, like an old wound remembering that it had never truly healed. I did not know then that even a ruler could be lonely. Some crowns do not shine, some only grow heavier in the dark. When Maya opened the old book, the room seemed to hold its breath. There are pages that do not simply record history, they protect guilt. I entered Vel Anor as the chosen bride, but inside me something quieter and stronger had already begun to refuse.
The city chooses in silence.
Well,
Then silence already has too much power. The name revealed will carry the evening.
and yet,
A name can carry more than obedience. Serâh. Then let them look at me when they say it. It is not us. That does not make us innocent.
The gown, I understood its purpose. It was made to make my disappearance look beautiful.
The gown was made to make you beautiful. Then let it also make them listen. They dressed you like a legend.
Legends are easier to send away than people.
There is still a road out.
A road out for me leaves everyone else inside.
The room remembered more than the people did. Every object carried a silence, and every silence felt like a warning. My dreams did not tell me to run. They showed me symbols, veils, and moons, as if the truth was trying to reach me without words. The procession moved with perfect grace. That was what frightened me most. A city can make even surrender look sacred. When the doors opened, I felt the weight of every woman who had crossed that threshold before me.
The old order was written to preserve peace. Peace that cannot be questioned is only another locked door.
The carvings were not decoration. They were a language. And for the first time, I understood that the walls had been speaking all along. When I first saw him, I knew I was supposed to be afraid. But behind that silent face, there was more than terror. There was memory.
The time has come. Speak quickly, before we are discovered. We must descend into the catacombs. Lead the way, my
With every
lady.
step downward, the palace grew quieter behind me. I was no longer walking into darkness. I was walking beneath the story they had given me. The gallery was not empty. It was filled with the presence of those no one had allowed to remain. In the mirror, I did not see only myself. I saw the shape of every silence that had been dressed in crimson before me. The symbols were no longer strange to me. The stone had a voice. The city had simply trained itself not to hear it. When I found the true name, I did not feel triumph. I felt someone, somewhere in the dark, finally breathe.
You were not meant to see this. Then it was hidden from the wrong woman. I knew enough to be guilty. Then know enough to help me.
When he appeared, the candles seemed small. But what I feared was not his size. It was the age of his silence. The archive was too orderly. That was how I knew it was dangerous. Some lies survive because they are kept clean. The pages did not shout. They simply waited. And once I read them, the official story could no longer look innocent. That small drawing held more truth than all the polished records around it. A child had remembered what an empire chose to forget.
You found what the palace forgot to fear.
No. I found what it taught itself not to feel.
Tell me what you need.
Stand far enough to let me choose, close enough to remember why I did.
As I walked through the corridor, I knew I could not return to who I had been. Some doors close behind you without making a sound.
The realm survives because each person accepts their place.
A place built on silence is not survival. When peace asks one person to vanish, who is it protecting?
The many.
Then let the many know the price.
You speak like judgment.
No. Like memory.
Kale stood alone with the weight of the realm in his hands, but even power trembles when it begins to recognize the truth. The people prepared the evening with candles and silk. No one asked whether beauty could make an old wrong less cruel. The drum called the city to witness, but I knew what was coming was not a ceremony. It was an answer.
Forgive my hands. Use them carefully. That is
Maya
enough.
carried years of silence behind her eyes. I wondered how long a person can serve a lie before it begins to sound like duty.
Not to bind you. To say someone saw you before the whole did.
Then I will carry it where they cannot reach. I want to ask you to stay.
Then ask me to return instead.
Return.
The hall waited before I entered it. Some places feel empty only because everyone inside them has already agreed not to speak. When Kale entered, the room remembered his authority. I watched his face and saw something authority rarely shows: fear. The light inside Harunveer did not feel like a threat. It felt like an ancient heart trying to remember how to beat. I walked toward the platform knowing every eye would call me chosen. But inside myself, I had already chosen something else.
This is where the old promise is completed.
Then this is where it changes.
The book waited for obedience. But no written vow is stronger than a living soul that refuses to vanish. They thought I would shrink before him. Instead, I saw that even gods can be shaped by what a people refuses to remember. The memories opened like doors in a place without walls. Names, faces, and lost promises gathered around me, asking not for pity, but for witness.
You are not asking for my end. You are asking for a witness.
Then witness what they hid beneath honor.
This is not how the evening was meant to unfold.
No. This is how truth enters a room. Take the memory the realm hid, not the person standing before you.
Then nothing will remain as we named it.
The stone did not change, we did. Truth is often not created in a moment. It is only seen when the light finally reaches it.
I was taught to inherit before I learned to question.
I remembered too late.
I kept loyalty where I should have kept a name.
The time is upon us.
The symbols are awake. Be silent and witness.
The embroidery on my gown became something I could no longer own. Each golden line carried a life that silence had tried to erase. I was not standing before a monster. I was standing before the weight of everything my city had refused to name.
I mistook order for truth. Then begin again with truth. Let the doors stay open.
When he accepted, the hall did not become peaceful. It became honest, and honesty is a heavier kind of peace.
Remember it gently.
I will. Not as rumor, not as pity, but as truth.
By morning, The city walls looked different. Perhaps the stone had not changed. Perhaps we had finally learned how to look.
A crown cannot close what has been opened.
When the archive doors opened, the hidden things did not disappear. They became brave enough to stand in the light. I watched Vel Anor beneath the fading sun. I did not feel victory. I felt the beginning of a silence that could no longer obey. In the end, the monument remained. But this time, it did not ask the city to forget. It asked the living to remember.